Hi everybody, this is Chloe Hudson with World Peace Projects. Thank you for joining me. So I wanted to offer some insights that I have been accumulating and downloading in regard to all of the stargates, portals, solstice energy that's happening right now. So we have already gone through the 1212 solar portal stargate. And we are approaching the 1221 solstice crystalline stargate. And we're also approaching Christmas, which is a very high influx of energetics coming in that activates joy and abundance. And then on the 5th of January, we have an eclipse. And right behind the solstice on the 22nd, we have a full moon. So this accumulation of days here in December and into the beginning of January is extremely powerful. And I wanted to just give some information of what I've been gathering. And this information has been accumulated from my higher self, guides, channelings, though also some of the people I like to follow on YouTube, including Florbrun, Aluna Ash. Some of this information comes from Dawn Bailey and also Magenta Pixie and possibly others. So just so you know that if you've heard some of their transmissions, you'll be hearing me repeat a couple of these things and adding my own insight into them. Now, for the week or two before the 1212 solar gateway, there was a collective template that was purging and preempting, clearing to get one ready in all areas, all bodies, emotional, mental, physical, karmic, sexual, and astral, to prepare for the grand purge that is now happening. So at that time, there was a lot of physical ascension symptoms, including feeling flu or cold-like issues. I had a lot of issues with sinus pressure and feelings of like achy body. A lot of people had kind of crisis situations coming up. And as usual, you name it across the board, it's always unique to each individual what the ascension symptoms can bring. Now, another mass consciousness template that has been playing out right now is Kundalini activation. And that comes with a slew of those ascension symptoms that people have been feeling. And they're extremely varied depending on where your Kundalinic frequency is rising up in your body at this time. So if it's at a specific chakra, the ascension symptoms will be experienced differently in alignment with that area of your body, and whatever organs or systems are connected to that chakra. And another mass consciousness template that has also been playing out, but I do not think it's as obvious, and Aluna Ash has spoken on it, is the memory re-engagement of the Maldek destruction. So what is now our asteroid belt used to be a giant superplanet named Maldek, and this has a Mars association. There's a lot of war masculine energy, and there's a link to this in our DNA. A lot of us hold lifetimes from that experience. And if anyone has noticed that maybe studies galactic heritage, it is very common for us to play out themes that were past historical events from galactic experiences and galactic wars, themes like this. And it tends to play out on a micro level in regard to our planet, galactic to planetary, as mass consciousness, certain things we start to see in the news, or usually horrific events happening. So this has also been activated. Now, with the stargates and solar portals happening right now, and it is thrusting massive solar waves from the grand central sun down into the galactic central sun of Alcyon and pushing through our sun, moving through this portal, and it's now being influenced by the moon. So as the moon being a magnifier and an absorption agent, it likes to not just magnify and amplify what's going on, it also absorbs and siphons energy from our planet as well. And this influence onto the portals and the solar frequencies that are happening creates a lot of distortion and openings, cracks, fissures, bleed-throughs, for malevolent, darker, nefarious forces to come in and influence AI technologies, mental thought forms being imposed, you name it. A lot of these things we've spoken before on the channel, and many of you have plenty of information on all of this as well. So the reason I bring this up is because, as usual, when there are light influxes, light workers and all of us need to be extra cautious to utilize our knowledge and techniques and tools energetically for grounding and clearing, which is one reason I posted a grounding and clearing as my last video. Though not just for this reason, but it's also important to know that there is often also a hijacking of your mental perceptions and your hormones, if it were. So the way your emotions are influenced. Most of us know that during the full moon, especially women, are highly affected by the magnetic properties of the moon. Hormonally, with our blood time, and people get obviously very agitated. This is a very well-known fact and phenomenon. So when this begins to uprise, it's not only just because the moon is influencing us. It is because there is now access, especially with the solar frequencies coming in, for the service to self beings, the minions, Big Brother, and the malevolent galactics, whatever you want to name it, to slide in and kind of have a heyday on our energetics. And depending on what your personal triggers are and where you are vulnerable, that is probably where you would experience being pressed by them. So remembering your ability to not only ground and clear and protect your energetic fields, and do implant removals if you have a practice in this or you work with a healer. I would suggest Dawn Bailey. She is a fabulous magnetic healer, and I'll leave her information in this posting. Though also, while using all of these tools and healing modalities that are required, it's to understand a level of detachment and observation that, remember, your emotions and your mental perspectives and thought forms can very possibly, especially when they do not feel good and they come in from nowhere, have been hijacked and are artificial. They may not be yours. So start to have that detective mode about you and realize, and when you start to tune in and think about this, and maybe that's possible, that thought was a little bit out of sorts. Remember, this could be AI thought forms being imposed or implanted, and you can become aware of the frequency difference in this change once you've paid enough attention for a long enough time, had some experience. Like anything, get better with experience. So being aware that, it's also this kind of imposition, and important for you to have some awareness and gentleness towards yourself, to not blame yourself, shame yourself, guilt yourself, or, turn that anger energy or lower frequency energetics that's being posed onto you towards self. And this is an important understanding to have at this time, because as more light influxes in, more dark will ramp up as well. And it's just the way it goes until we pop out of this duality system, this matrix. Now, a lot of attack energy is ramping up through people purging. So not just with the more general upsets around the malevolent beings or the minions, though also because there is a huge press right now for our system to upgrade and access as much of the benevolent upgrades and downloads coming in from this 1221 portal. So your darkest depths and the gunk and the junk and any shadow aspects and dark night of the soul energies and all of this stuff or entities clinging on to you is coming up for purging and review and clearing, expulsion. Your body is expelling it out, often in very volatile ways, as many of us have been feeling. It can be head spinning and it can be shocking, the velocity in which this stuff comes up. It might not just be emotionally what you're feeling or physically what you're experiencing, but situations outside of you within your realm that you could be shocked at are manifesting into being within your life. Low-level energetics will attack. This has been happening through a lot of people. So if there are people around you, especially people near and dear to you or within your bloodline that are lashing out violently, not necessarily physically, though that can be possible, but emotionally, psychically, energetically, be aware that the parasitic entities, the implantations, the beings that may be vampirically feeding off of them are lashing out through them. So while it's everybody's responsibility to act accordingly to their, moral code and ethical code, depending on what that might be. So the human has responsibility if they're letting these entities control them. Nevertheless, if you have awareness and you're on the receiving end of this attack, that they are simply hosts right now to these beings and energetics. And that can help you to find detachment in regard to dealing with them, because the emotional tethers, attachments, and triggers that you may have in reactions or response to this are what ultimately hook you from those entities into being sucked in, and now, their problem becomes your problem. So having awareness around that. Now, those of us who may be expressing our shadow expulsion through higher frequencies, we might be feeling this as really deep triggers coming up. So it could be an agreement like that. If somebody around you has low frequency shadow energy coming up and it triggers you, that could be your complementary agreement with that soul that your higher frequency shadow energy is getting triggered so that you can see it and begin to work on it. And there's a magnification of this. So please be aware that this stuff is purging out like a volcano. And, this might play out in physical timelines as well, symbolically on Earth. So taking care to step back and give yourself the allowance to let these big geysers clear within you, because these triggers are deep down and are ready to come out. And once they're said and done, your magnification, your vibration will be significantly higher once you've done the work. Now, as Archangel Michael has been speaking about for about a year, the karma body is now being healed and transmuted. And earlier in the year, this was an experience that was imperative for the human to make request consciously and possibly subconsciously in dream time to heal the karmic debt and indoctrination, release, cut all karmic cords, ties, end all contracts, and allow your karmic divine dispensations to be released upon you in these now moments. At this time, it is becoming a mandatory flush. So while you may not be conscious that you are clearing your karmic body, it is now assisting and being cleared out of you because there's a bigger mass consciousness push, which is fabulous. That's a wonderful experience. And again, this might be part of what everybody is feeling, because when we need to clear our karma, a lot of times the soul has to hurry up, the soul aspects have to hurry up and play out the lessons that need to, close the book on that, end those contracts, get those lessons so that they can be purged and cleansed out, and you can release your karmic debt and karmic body. And this is happening on some scale for almost everyone. At least most of the awakened ones are clearing their karma body now. And again, you can ask for this assistance to release your karma body. If not completely, you may have some soul contracts and agreements you still need to learn. Though on a huge portion, you can flush this out without needing to open up and look through all of the root lives. So that's a fabulous thing, and it's important to understand that's something that's happening, and it will continue probably to be expelled even more thoroughly for mass consciousness. And the more that are awakening at this time, the easier and the quicker it will get. Now, ultimately what's happening on a nonlinear level, as it's channeled in Magenta Pixie's last channeling for this 1221 Stargate, is a timeline splitting. So for me, this coincides with what Lady Pallas Athena has been channeling about the pineal and third eye splitting into two and bifurcating. So we look at it like a pair of glasses. And I had the intuitive hit today listening to Magenta Pixie's channeling that this is a part of what synchronizes with this timeline split. The reason, or not the reason should I say, but what complements and synchronizes with all of the chakra upgrades and installations right now, and I'll go through these, is also this timeline splitting. So many of us have been feeling and kind of standing on the edge and teeter-tottering, you know, the lower realms of 4D and towing into 5D, and, you know, jumping back and forth through timelines and going and grabbing some energetics from 5D and 6D and bringing them back and anchoring them into our 4D. So at this point, we're getting to a place where one has the ability, if they have, you know, up-leveled enough in their ascension process, and if they are not going to access this graduation at this time, it's going to be here. So once, you know, anyone hits that level of work as they're upgrading, inevitably they will then be able to move into this timeline split as a completion. So there is an allowance at this point for us to now begin to completely catapult ourselves into the higher fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, lower fifth dimensional timeline in a way where we are protected at that point from lower frequency interference. So once you hit a certain plane of this higher timeline, it is no longer possible, unless you descend, which is probably very highly unlikely, for the beings, the malevolent multidimensionals, you know, Big Brother, all of these things that have very strong influences into our energetics to impose into your energy furthermore. Now, it does not mean that your experience living on the 3D material world will shift so completely that you are impervious to any of the Big Brother situations, such as taxes and all of that. But again, you'll be so detached from it in a huge way that you will be in the world but not of it type of experience, though there will be mass amounts of protection and relief in regard to the pressure that we feel imposed on energetically with implants and all of this type of stuff. Now that is fabulous. So as the upgrades happen for the third eye and your third eye begins to bifurcate, it will assist you to have visual access into the higher timeline. So not only feeling it sensationally, emotionally, psychically, but you will begin to be able to see it with your eyes. And you will begin to understand and conceptualize when the third dimensional timeline begins to dissolve in material symbolic ways, what many might feel is happening as catastrophic events that seem very scary. You will be completely aware, because of your upgrade, that that is symbolic of the transmutation of the third dimensional realm. And that is exactly what needs to happen, and it is benevolent. It will not activate the fear body any longer. In fact, for the most part, hopefully, our fear body will have completely transmuted. And then once this happens, it will give us access to begin to move into a 3-world split matrix and have the ability to trilocate. Now, Magenta Pixie, the beings that she channels, were calling this an antimatter time matrix, and they were saying this is where antimatter meets matter. For me, I feel that this is where Gondolos Gondonam comes into play. If any of you have been following me for a little bit, I have not talked about or channeled Gaia and Higher Self Twin Flame in a while, though I had Gaia come to me, and for years now I've been in connection with Gaia and her higher self, which another wonderful channel shared with me. Her name is Chitaya, and that resonates with me very thoroughly. And of course, all of this is what resonates with you. We all should know by now that you take what resonates with you, you leave the rest. So for me, Gaia is moving into her higher self, 5th, 6th dimensional higher self, Chitaya. Now, Gaia has a masculine twin flame that during the downfall of the Kali Yuga, or when Earth went through, this huge dark night of the soul energy, her twin flame masculine on an energetic level chose to basically pull back and hide himself so that not all would be lost in regard to the possibility of him falling into the trap of the shadow masculine uprising as well. He wanted to purify his energetics and keep himself safe enough so he did not stay in as much access, though Earth Mother is the mother. She needs to stay and take care of her children. So Gondonam is twin flame of Gaia. And Gondolos is twin flame of Gaia, and Gondonam is higher self of Gondolos. So masculine, feminine, twin flame energetics of Earth, Gaia, Chitaya, Gondolos, Gondonam. Now, I've channeled Gondolos Gondonam, and you can find these channelings on my YouTube channel if you go back. And he spoke about the first gift he was offering to the children of Earth was spirit into tangibility, which is what has been happening in a mass way. Many of us have seen this, and we're watching it in science now as factual, tangible proof is coming forward that what many of us that have followed spirituality, metaphysics for years have known as true, though we didn't need the physical, factual proof of it, though now it will be revealed and has been revealed. And that is the first gift that Gondolos Gondonam talks about offering to the populace. When Magenta Pixie speaks about antimatter to matter, for me that is also synchronistic of Gondolos Gondonam coming back to reveal thyself. He gives access, he can be accessed rather, when we reach a higher 4th dimensional frequency for Earth, which is safe for him to come back into integration with Gaia Chitaya. So I just want to put that out there, that little nugget of information, and I'll be releasing more channels from them very soon. In regard to some of the activations around the third eye split, I can only speak of some of my symptoms that I was receiving for a week before and after the 12/12 portal. I was having extreme nasal infection-like symptoms. I've never had allergies before, though they were pretty significant for me at that time. And I was also experiencing rust-colored leakage coming out of my sinus cavities. So that's just something that I'm now realizing is a part of my physical experience of expanding into that bifurcation for my third eye and the upgrade of the pineal pituitary. Something else that the White Wing Collective of 9 brought through for Magenta Pixie is that when these upgrades happen, we are given access now to new brain patterning templates. They referred to it as the organic human. I have referred to it, and many other channels have referred to it as the Homo Lumen. So whatever you want to call it, this is where our brain has released the lower mind, basically. And this brings in synchronicity of the installation and upgrade of the Well of Dreams chakra. So for any of you who have not heard of this chakra, this is a chakra. The installation of this, I believe, was channeled through, gosh, I forget his name right now, but he brought this through from the Syrians, and I'm sure his name will pop into my brain in just a moment. But the Well of Dreams chakra is a chakra that has been being installed. I've seen it in the past year, right at our occiput. So just above your atlas and axis, the very top vertebrae in your neck, at the back and base of your skull. The Well of Dreams chakra is being installed or has been installed in this area. This chakra, once it is installed and activated, what I see is that an energetic cable or a cord that looks like a coaxial cable to me comes out the back just above. If you were to put your fingers on the back of your skull and your neck, where there's kind of a dip there, where your the muscles on the sides of your head kind of give way, there's a cord that comes out of that area and inserts into the back of the heart in between the shoulder blades through the spine. And then the Well of Dreams chakra begins to communicate and synchronize and take command from the higher heart. So again, this is a lower heart, higher heart activation. Now, many of you have most likely already had that. And the Well of Dreams acts as a liaison and begins to assist and schmooze the lower mind to surrender to the higher heart, to begin to come offline, to gently and slowly trust that it's in its highest good, to surrender to the heart, because after all, the heart is the higher navigating intelligence, and the heart actually has the ability to give the brain access to more of its power and abilities. Many of us have known for a while that we cannot access all of our brain. Our brain doesn't completely function at 100% comparative to the mass. So your heart, and this is a protective governor, because without heart activation, you know, obviously it can be very dangerous to have a very powerful brain with ill intent. So this has been installed not just as a protection. Obviously there's some malevolence around it in regard to, you know, human enslavement, but that's a whole nother topic. So your lower mind begins to surrender to your higher heart. And that's the sole intention at this point that I know of for the Well of Dreams chakra. I shouldn't say sole intention, but main function, a priority function at this time. And something I've definitely been noticing in most of my clients is that this chakra continues to be coming offline. It gets bumped offline, that cord gets unplugged. There is often an implant installed behind it to do this. This comes in a lot of times because it's scary for us to stay in our heart. It's difficult for us to trust our heart and surrender our lower mind, you know, or teach our mind that it's safe to move forward even if it cannot prove factually or see what's going on. So that whole adjustment and moving into the trust and the surrender of your higher heart continues to create challenges and problematic issues for the Well of Dreams to stay fully online. Though once that is up and running completely 100% in a healthy way, that gives your lower mind the ability to transmute, surrender to your higher heart, and then your higher heart can boost up and take on that role as a stargate within your body, accessing more of your biology can command more of your biology and give you more ability to open up into your gifts and your ascension. And not only that, but give you access to navigate in a safe way when you move into meditation, astral projection. Because just like synchronistic to what these guides are saying about as we move into this next timeline, that our resonance will have up-leveled significantly in a way that we are now forever more protected by certain influences that have been bombarding us for eons past. Your heart will also synchronistically protect you in that way. So it is highly advised that when you move into meditation and astral projection, You receive transmissions, you go to communicate through telepathy or channeling. Utilize your heart space, always moving into your heart as a portal, as your starship, as your spaceship, as your sanctuary, receiving the beings from that space or astral projecting from your heart into the universe. It is the most efficient, safest space that will give you the most access that you have the ability to reach at this time. So that's just a reminder, and it's an important message. Trusting your heart more and more. Your heart has mass intelligence that none of us are savvy to at this point. So that activation is another chakra that's been coming online, is the Well of Dreams chakra. And again, all of these chakras you can request for assistance for the activation. If you'd like to receive a healing and an upgrade and activation on that, please let me know. Furthermore, there is a Thymus chakra activation. Now, I see this chakra coming online for me, and everybody's different. Everybody runs different color, frequency, vibrations in their chakras as well. So there is also a need for us to begin to let go of the belief systems that we have been taught around the 7 chakra system and even the 12 chakra system at this point. So while there has been a very kind of rigid structure around the chakra body, I invite you to begin to release what you think you know and give yourself the ability to expand and receive more awareness around this, because I also note that the chakras kind of shift a little bit. You can replace them, you can expand them, the colors change. The chakras will upgrade from, as we move from 4th into 5th. And we are amplifying, we are expanding the number of chakras that we have now, and eventually we'll be minimizing the numbers of chakras that we have. We won't need them any longer. So the Thymus chakra, for me, that I see my Thymus chakra just below my sternum. If I put my thumb in this soft spot in between my rib cage where the end of my breastplate, where my breastplate ends and my thumb can kind of dip down into that tissue, that softer tissue area, this is where I see my Thymus chakra installed. When mine was installed, I saw it as hot pink. And then when it comes fully online for me and for many of my clients too, I see it as a big beacon of light. It's akin to me of like looking at a lighthouse that's calling in the boats, a huge beacon of light projecting out. And this chakra, as far as I know, represents physical joy. It attracts in, it magnifies and amplifies and magnetizes physical joy, experiences of physical joy into your life. It works very closely with the heart. Once this begins to come online, there's a whole slew of interesting ascension symptoms, usually wrapped around indigestion, anything that you can think of in this zone of your body, right? This chakra, as spoken about from Aluna Ash, is connected to the emotional body, of course, the heart, the endocrine system, because the endocrine system is completely connected to the chakra body as well, and telepathy. Now, when I hear that, it makes me think about the telepathy is a universal language that most people are waking up to more and more, even if they're not conscious to it. Everybody has some experiences with telepathy, in my opinion. They might just not know it, or they might, brush it off as something else. Though the heart gives complete access to telepathy, and it's a purifying filter as well. So when we move into telepathic communication, again, utilizing your heart and allowing the Thymus chakra to be a transponder, if you will assist so much in authenticating the telepathic communications, filtering them out, protecting what you bring in and what you put out, and having an expansive reach, because there's telepathy, but it also depends on your ability to access certain frequencies. So in the beginning, you might be able to channel your higher self. And then once you expand your frequential vibration, you may be able to access 13-dimensional beings. But it just depends on your frequency range and if they can reach you and you can reach them. So this is a chakra that's coming more fully online. And this one is really fun because, again, it brings in joy, and it takes a level of surrender and trust, because we must break down many heart walls before we can fully access this chakra. Now, this will also give way to more light language, what the guides are calling DNA language, your ability to amplify your feelings, your emotional body, upgrading your emotional body to more bliss-filled and loving states, and being much more acutely aware of vibrations. So as these activations are coming online, we'll watch a overriding of the ego, of the personality, watching the mental, emotional, and soul begin to infuse as one. There has been for a while, and many of you are probably starting to notice, if you are not aware of this, that the magnetic feminine energies are rising. So there has been an uptake in communication about magnetizing, not just through alchemizing, but also using magnetizing as a way for healing, magnetizing energies out of your body, magnetizing energy to you, and understanding magnetism on a whole, because this is a feminine aspect. This is an energy that will be coming more and more into play, which is fabulous. So putting that in your vicinity to just think about magnetics in regard to your vibration to give you more access to your ascension. You can also magnetize a lot of the carbon-based elements out of your body as you're transmuting into crystalline and ultimately into diamond for your cells. That's been happening more and more. And two other chakras that are coming online are the twin flame chakras, or the male-female galactic chakras. These two chakras are above your crown, and as far as I see them, they are when fully activated, they are what looks as the illusion to be a halo for the depictions of angels. For me, and again, everybody will be different, I see my masculine twin flame chakra, if I were to, have it kind of stand dormant for a moment, it would be up and to the right, kind of like out of my sight line. If I were to try to look up and to the right, maybe at a 40-degree angle or something, it'd be just up maybe half a foot above my crown. And that one I see for myself as, and it could have shifted color, frequencies, vibrations. I haven't looked at it without it moving, without it helixing in a while. But I initially, when it came online, I saw it as a iridescent, I explained it as a peacock blue. My feminine chakra, I see on the other side above, up onto the left, is an iridescent peacock purple. These chakras, as chakras do, they begin to helix and spin, and then they will cycle around each other, creating the illusion of a halo. And then once they're fully activated, they will begin to DNA helix, looking like a DNA helix around your body, up and down, balancing all of your chakra system. And this will install, the chakras will install, once you've hit a certain percentage of masculine-feminine balance in your energetics, you most likely already have an installation of the twin flame chakra blueprint. And again, you can always ask for these upgrades to happen. So this is something that's also synchronistic to me of Gondolos, Gondanam, Gaia Chitaya coming more fully online as a twin flame bonding. And of course, the masculine feminine energetics finding a balance. So I hope that that gives you guys some information about what's happening. And another thing I wanted to add real quick is, because there's a huge thrust right now and a push for upgrades and helping us to prep and get ready to utilize as much as possible for our being and our human and our soul to access the solar portal for the solstice coming up here, there is a massive pressurized clearing happening. And one thing that is definitely coming up to be purged is fear body and the lack belief matrix. So a lot of people are having triggers, huge triggers right now around any experiences that trigger fear for your being, and any kind of lack, scarcity, experience, belief system, mentality. So this doesn't just have to be money. It could be any kind of support system that you feel that the bottom is dropping out. Please remember, it is absolutely necessary to purge all of this density. It's coming out to clear. And if you can find the trust in that, and remember that you're supported and there's a reason this is happening, and even if you don't know how or fully why, that this is an illusion and it's coming up to be cleared, and keep asking your guides for help, ask for help, ask for help. It's moving you to a vibration that will catapult you out of that fear and lack belief matrix. It will give you a graduation once you've cleared it all and upgraded and released your karma body and, done the ascension work, to completely release any dense foundations that anchor you or have you vacillate in that range of fear and lack belief in your baseline frequency. So this is something that's coming up big time for everybody right now. And it's really important to realize that is one of the final graduation pieces, because ultimately that is one of the strongest, it's not solid, obviously, but solidifying forces for the lower dimensional matrix. We have to blast out of the fear, the lack, the polarity belief system. And it's not surprising that that would be one of the last challenges that you would feel before you can catapult yourself into a higher 4D, lower 5D realm that feels so relieving and trustworthy. And what will assist you to move through that graduation point, that final exam, that testing right now that's coming in with a passion, is trusting into your breath work and focusing in on and activating your diaphragm chakra. Another chakra that's coming online right now is your diaphragm chakra. I see my diaphragm chakra in between my sacral chakra and my solar plexus. Some people see it or have reported it in between their solar plexus and heart. So what have you? Again, it's your body. Just move through your intuition. But this chakra, for me, when I see it come online after the governors and the plates and the caps are removed, it expands. I like to say expands like an accordion, and I give it permission to activate. And it's got to find its comfort zone, and you need to activate your deep breath work as well to access this, and it will help you more and more to anchor your trust frequency into your body. The diaphragm chakra is going to assist you in pulling connection up from Earth Mother and staying fully grounded and rooted, and also pulling in the higher loving frequencies from Creator Source and the higher universe energetics. And not only that, but on a physical level, it will help you to activate your mesentery. Now, your mesentery is what a lot of scientists have believed for a while is a layer of tissue. And if you were to Google it, you'll see it. They'll talk about it as a sheath that is a backing support that anchors in a lot of your digestive tract and the organs. Though it has now been proven through British scientists that your mesentery is actually like a second brain. It assists your digestive system to be activated, oversees and manages, if you will, all of your digestion. And this is something that many of the Asian cultures have known for a very long time as they work through Taoism and Tai Chi and all of these breathwork processes utilizing their Mula Bandha and their ability to breathe and create life force energy in their dantian. So this area, your mesentery, which, right now you can just think of it kind of as a back layer behind your intestinal tract and your digestive system for your stomach, this whole area. It's like a second brain. giving it permission to fully activate. Let it know intuitively. You're now aware, you're conscious that it is there, and it will help you activate your diaphragm chakra and also process your emotions efficiently. It will assist you to utilize your breath and its intelligence to become in command and in control more and more of your emotional body. You don't have to be taken with, on a ride by your emotions so thoroughly. It will help you to know how to be objective, to detach, to be present, to witness, and to move through the emotional frequencies, the energy in motion, the emotions, becoming body conscious and aware. So activating your diaphragm chakra, focusing on your meditation will help you to accelerate and blast through those fear and lack belief portals and accelerate into what, again, Magenta Pixies guides are calling the neon portal, an acceleration of zero inner point field. This, again, they're saying is a nonlinear experience, and they're calling it the plasma rainbow light body. Okay, so you can visualize these energies in yourself, visualizing your cells turning into emerald, magenta, ruby, sapphire, gold, utilizing, as they were saying, the colors of Christmas time, allowing these beautiful twinkling lights to be an external physical symbolism of this upgrade happening right now within your body, giving yourself permission to trust in this, activating your chakra body. And soon enough, I hope within the next couple months, I'm going to put out a course on our chakras and the upgrades. And I'll let you guys know when that comes into play. So I hope that this has been of service. If I don't talk to you guys before then, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a lovely holiday, and we'll connect again soon. If you'd like to connect and receive a channeling or a healing, I'm always accessible from worldpeaceprojects.global. Thanks so much. Take care.